Good evening, good evening, and welcome everybody for tuning into Cop Talk. We've been away for a few weeks, but we're back. So don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Before I introduce to everyone out there what this week's show is all about, I just like to introduce one of our gentlemen to the panel. Good evening, Preds. How have you been, sir?
I'm all right, thank you very much, Tony, and I'm very happy that we're back on air and we're ready to talk because I've been wanting to talk for so long.
Yeah. A lot's happened since the last time we've been on as well.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
yeah. So our main features of the show, and everybody would have seen in the thumbnail, Red set to miss out on UEFA Champions League, and an emotional farewell to Firmino. We're able to watch our last home game and the farewell to Bobby.
I've watched I haven't watched the whole game. I've watched the
Yeah.
highlights of the game, and I've watched the nice little touch that we gave him the guard of honor at the end of the game in his presentation as well. And then I've seen other videos circulating regard when with Bobby's after party and the words that Jurgen Klopp said really really the words befitting a really great Liverpool player, and he's done magnificent for us, and it's always sad to see a player, a world liked player who's done so well for us, and it's helped us in the last 5 or 6 years get some trophies on the table, and he scored some absolutely fantastic goals as well, and yeah, Bobby deserves all the plaudits that come to him.
Yeah, fairly. And I mean, it's almost as if it's almost as if it was one of those moments like when was it Vincent Company, his last goal, was it Tony Adams, the
Yeah,
last time they actually played and they ended up scoring. I mean, it was so fitting as well to see Bobby score on his last game. It was almost written as well.
yeah. That's what I
Yeah,
love about Liverpool. That's what I love about Liverpool. These little, these little stories and these little things that develop, and it's just one of those things that that makes me love the club. Um,
mm,
the result wasn't the one we wanted, but
mm,
I'm sure we'll talk about that.
yeah,
But yeah, like I said, anything that comes to Bobby,
mm,
he deserves all the plaudits. He's been a wonderful servant for the football
yeah.
club.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, as you mentioned, we'll have an opportunity to obviously get back, speak about Bobby's departure, but speak about the other players that have obviously moved on as well for us for this season. So one of the pointers that probably popped up, and it's on our thumbnail is it's a strange one, is this? So we haven't been able to qualify for the UEFA Champions League, right? So where we are currently at the moment, we finished fifth. Yeah, we finished fifth. I know that I mentioned it probably about 6 weeks ago when we were down there. I think we were ninth or 10th. And I know I probably just said to myself, you know what? That's fine. I think I can probably, I think I'm probably going to be happy with finishing ninth or 10th. Could I ever have envisaged us going on the run we actually did to finish where we did now? It was just never ever in my mind. Never ever in my mind. So we finished fifth. I think the last time that we finished out of the Champions League was 2015, 2016. So I'm trying to think, was that the season that Klopp actually came with us, that first season?
Yeah, the first season we went in Champions League or did we get chucked out of it? But the first season we got the Champions League, didn't we?
Yeah.
Remember that magnificent game against Norwich in it. That that game where it was, I can't remember what the score was. I think it was 5-4, 6-4, something like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's definitely
A long time.
I'm definitely pissed, but I'm not gonna lie. We've done it to ourselves. We've had this topsy turvy season. We had no divine right. No team has a divine right to be in the Champions League, but we just didn't. I mean, if anything, we just have to blame. We have to blame ourselves. game.
Yeah.
So defeats like the one against Forest, and many other results. It's just it is actually
Woeful.
not good.
I think it was. If you look at
Woeful,
it, woeful. I mean, collectively over this season, we just showed such a level of inconsistency, and I think that was probably quite frustrating to watch. I know we had the international break, and there were slight adjustments that Jurgen Klopp and the coaching staff made, and then we obviously went on that nice run, but it was almost too late.
Yeah.
If that's an insight to how we can perform next season, I suppose that's going to be a plus point. But yeah, I kind of agree with you. I think it is what it is. This is probably now going to be watching European nights on a Thursday instead of being in part of the Champions League on a Tuesday or a Wednesday. But I suppose we're still there.
Yeah, well, look, it's European football. It's not the competition that we want or expect. No one expected us to be in there. But listen, it's a competition to be won. And if we can go there, and if we can go into that tournament, into competition, and aim to win it, it's as simple as that. End of the day, we've not qualified for Champions League, obviously, because it's been confirmed tonight. After that team in Manchester who play in red beat up Chelsea. It was just when you're thinking, like, obviously United need a point from the last two games to to qualify, and you look at their fixture list and you're thinking, okay, Man United against Chelsea, and any other year, any other time, you're thinking, oh, that's going to be a tricky one. That one. Not this year.
It's always going to be. It's like a gimme, wasn't it?
Yeah, not this year.
It was a gimme. I think even going back to what you were saying as well, what possibly could have been interesting if we managed to get that win against Villa, and then we beat Southampton on our last game. And he said if Man United kind of wobbled a little bit, or Newcastle wobbled in their last game, we could still possibly have finished in the top four.
Yeah, I said it. I said it weeks ago. I said, look, I'm still going to believe we can get into that Champions League spot until it's mathematically impossible. It's now mathematically impossible. So,
exactly.
We just have to grin and bear it. I'm getting battered on by texting groups by Man United supporters, and and it's all part and parcel of football, and that's why we love the game, isn't it?
Exactly. But yeah, I think I'm like you now, that mathematically impossible. We're going to be in a European competition next season. I think for me as well, it was one of those, we're either out of Europe completely, or we're in a Champions League. Look, we're in Europa, but at least we're not in the Europa Conference League. I think that was probably one that I probably didn't want to end up getting in.
No, and they got a new format this next season as well.
Oh, something new, is it?
I think they're doing. I think I'm gonna have to do my research, but I know that there's a new format that they're looking to implement in these European competitions. So it'll be interesting. But like I said, it's a competition that we're in. We have to grin and bear it, mate, and go and try and win it.
Yeah. All right, so that's the Europa Champions League. We'll leave that and we'll park that to one side. And
we're going to park it for a season anyway. We've parked it for a season anyway.
But yeah, so other departures in the club. So we've obviously had Naby Keita, we've had Ox, we've had James Milner. Arta Mella was on loan, and question mark on this one. You'll probably be able to answer this, Preds, or somebody that's tuned in the feed. Is Adrian going as well, or has he re-signed an extension?
Well, I think the club are actually looking to extend his contract, and I believe it's like, I don't want to discredit him as a professional footballer, but I think he's good in the changing room, apparently. You know, he's quite lively, fun, very encouraging. You know, gives advice to young players, and I should imagine that he's going to stick around for one more year. And plus, Keller might want to go as well. He's been saying that he might. There's been rumours saying that he wants to probably leave to get first team football. So if he goes, then obviously, you know, one of the young lads might step up from the 23s or from the youngsters. So yeah, I think Adrian will probably get a year extension, but purely because he's very good to be around in the changing room.
Yeah,
Good influence, and he's a good influence. He must be a good influence for Klopp to want him around.
So Adrian, as you said, we've got the question mark over that. I have been having a discussion with if you have a Liverpool in one of the other forums that I'm in, right? And I actually wanted to bring this question to Kop Talk today. So I'm just going to present this question to you just to hear your honest opinion on this, all right? So we've had Naby and Ox Chamberlain with us, both departing as well with Bobby, all right?
Yeah.
As an individual player with Naby here, I wonder how he's seeing his career at Liverpool, all right? Because he actually leaves with UEFA Champions League medal, a World Club Cup winner, a league medal, FA Cup, Super Cup, and League Cup. I wonder how even though he's decorated and he's got those medals and silverware, I wonder how he sees his career at Liverpool being. Is he seeing it with the honours that he's left, or with the lack of game time that he actually had in a period of time being at Liverpool? And Ox is probably in the same boat as well there.
Yeah, I think, yes, he has been unfortunate with injuries. As a professional footballer, to have that many injuries and have his career kind of stop, start. He didn't really have too much momentum in the first team. Saying that, when he did have momentum, he didn't grasp the opportunity to make himself a mainstay in the team. But saying that, again, he got injured. And I think the best kind of form he was in was during the COVID period, and when we won the title. He started to come to fruition a little bit, didn't he? And he started scoring really good goals and important goals. He scored that goal against Newcastle towards. So yeah, I would say that he would possibly think, look, if he's an honest, decent lad and he's a good professional, he would probably be frustrated with his time at Liverpool. Like, he was probably blessed to be a part of something that achieved so many honours during his time there. But I think deep down he's got to kind of, if he has any self-reflection, he has to be slightly disappointed with his career at Liverpool.
And it was 5 years as well, because I think we bought him in 2018. So those 5 years went quick, and there was always that question mark: when's he going to perform for us? When is he really going to have the opportunity to be able to put a series of games together so we can actually see the reason why we actually bought him as well? So yeah, it's probably going to be that question mark. He's left a career that was possibly unfulfilled at Liverpool. But he's right. If the body, for whatever reason, the body makeup doesn't allow you to do it, then it's one of those things.
Yeah, it's just the fact that we paid 60 million for him, and Klopp kind of highlighted him and targeted him for quite a long time. So Klopp obviously saw something in him, and just hasn't worked out.
Yeah, definitely. So we've got we mentioned Adrian departure. We touched on Naby. We've touched on Ox. We've got Mr. Milner leaving. Mr. 37-year-old is now moving over to Brighton. He signed his contract as well. I think probably what you were saying as well, similar to Adrian, that experience that James has probably brought in the background. He's our vice captain. Off the field, I'm confident it's going to be a loss, but I think he's been an amazing servant for Liverpool, and his experience and his knowledge moving forward, I think, is going to be appreciated at Brighton. I was watching a podcast with Troy Deeney, and he was commenting behind the scenes how much professionals actually look up and admire the professionalism of James Milner. So behind the scenes, he must be carrying some weight there. It's probably going to be, well, not probably, it will be a loss to us. But as you said, I suppose his time was coming.
Yeah. His time has come. And look, I've got to be honest, James Milner, if you think about it, he's been around forever, isn't he?
Yes. I think we bought him in like I'm sure we got him in like 2015. It's what we took. So he's probably been there for about 8 years.
Yeah, 2015.
So,
Yeah, I mean, look, if you think about it, we got in 2015. He's he's played something like 200 odd games. And if you think about it, like he's got a league title under his belt, 2 league titles under his belt. He's played for Leeds, Newcastle, Villa, Man City,
and Man City.
Liverpool.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So he's been around a long time, James Milner, a long time. So yeah, and plus he's an honest professional. Yeah. I'll tell you now, James Milner is one of those that every manager would want in their team, because of what he just brings his honesty, quality, and obviously as he's got older, his legs have found wanting a little bit, but no, he's been a fantastic player. The question marks was, for me, the question mark was out when he first came, but I've seen the benefit of Milner, his presence in the club.
And he's played in he can probably play in goal as well. Actually, he seems like he can actually play in any position as well. I remember when he was at Man City, he actually played up front for a couple of games as well. But you're right, I suppose with that added experience and knowledge that he's got, he's been able to adjust and play in different positions, regardless of the level that he probably would like to have played at. He still achieved so much. And you're right, at that age to still be playing in the Premiership, that's obviously a credit to him as well. So,
yeah, but you know what? I say like his legs, but you got to remember, he's been the fittest player at Liverpool in pre-season. Every year he's been there.
Yeah. And the other thing that you was mentioning as well, so what is he? He's 37, so he's 21 years at the top. Because I think, didn't he break through at Leeds when he was like 15 or 16? Yeah. So if you think of it, he's been playing that high level of competitive football for all of those years as well. There's a lot of players who don't even manage to play Premiership footballs for as long as he has. So you're right, it's a credit to him as well.
I'll tell you what, Stoney, right? I think some of the lads are going to be devastated that he's going because of who he is, and he's Mr. Serious and everything. But I think deep down, I think some of the boys are going, thank God he's gone, mate, because pre-season. Imagine like a 22, 23-year-old, like Curtis Jones and thingy, popping up for pre-season, and you've got a 37-year-old bossing it.
Oh my God!
You got someone who's probably the same age as their parents, beating them and running and everything. So deep down, I think the players are like relieved that he's no longer going to be top.
Oh God, that was bad. But yeah, so yeah, salute to James, from everyone from Cop Talk. Don't forget, James, you can tune in, even though you're not going to be with us and you're down with the Seagulls. You can still tune in to Cop Talk every Thursday at 11 o'clock and get your boys down there to like, share, and subscribe.
You got a couple of the Man United supporters in the comments giving it large.
Is it? That's good. That's right. I think we're used to that.
Good evening, Mr. B. Good evening, Solo.
Yeah, good evening. Definitely. I think he's probably going to be talking about a few players that we can probably look to purchase if the clubs do get relegated. We'll touch on that in a few minutes as well, Mr. B. Thanks for that comment, and also thanks, Mr. Solo, as well, sir, for allowing and giving me access behind the scenes. Just wanted to touch on briefly or revert back to something we mentioned at the beginning of the show, the Villa game. I think it was a game that we could potentially have won. But it was a strange one thinking back and looking back over it. Ollie Watkins' miss. I don't know whether it is because it was at the Kop end, him taking it. But I'm still in disbelief the way that he actually dispatched that. He didn't even hit the target. That was a strange one. But yeah, for me, that game, our lineup was fine. I think Villa's lineup was probably similar to what they had done. It was interesting that he played his name Leon Bailey up front with Ollie Watkins in that game, actually as the striker.
So striker, the boy's quick.
Yeah, very, very, very quick. But Emery's really got Villa set up so well. You can see that he is a manager with experience and knowledge, the way that they were set up. They qualified for Europe as well. No, did they just? Who did Villa end up coming?
Villa, I think you got us, then you've got Brighton, and then you got Villa just underneath them. So I think they squeak in. So I think it's up to the 7th position, isn't it? I think. Right.
So they are in. So they took the spot instead of Tottenham then, because Tottenham finished 8th. You're right.
Yeah. And I think I don't know whether it's to do with the fact that, Man City, who's in the cup final? Is it Man City United, isn't it?
Yeah, that's correct.
So, and both of them are going to be in the Champions League. So whether that place gets knocked on, who knows?
But it wouldn't surprise me if, Henry's showed when he was at Sevilla that winning the European Cup is like him just going to the shop just to buy a nice bottle of water. They're always actually going to get there. So it really wouldn't surprise me if Aston Villa get, really far in the in one of the European Cups that they're actually in. He's built for Europe anyway. Whether this squad's big enough to be able to sustain that, it'll be interesting. But I'm not a Villa fan, but I'll be keeping my eye on them to see how they do in Villa, Europe next season.
Yeah, Villa, one of those like Watkins. He's one of those players. He has a good time against Liverpool. Generally. And Emery, to be fair, the Villa gaffer, he's got a point to prove, really, isn't he? Because the last time he was over in the UK, he was manager of Arsenal. We didn't go quite well, but like you said, he's got one of the, if not best, managerial records in UEFA Cup as a manager, winning. What is it for Sevilla? What was it, 4 times?
Yeah.
On the spin.
They did this. That's serious. That's not
fluke. Yeah, and he's got Villa, and I know a couple of Villa supporters, and he's got Villa kind of ticking over, and Villa are definitely the Villa fans are definitely enjoying their moment at the period.
Yeah,
at this moment in time.
We'll keep them good. Not too sure what our signings will be for this. I mean, once the transfer once the transfer window opens, I wouldn't mind us going in and making a little cheeky bid for what's his name for Ramsey, Jacob Ramsey, just to go and add him to the squad. That's for all of the Villa supporters out there. Sorry, I have to say that just to annoy you. come and add some extra bodies to our squad.
He's a good player, though, isn't he?
Yeah, he's good. What was it? I think he's 21, but a nice little player there as well. Where he'd fit and feature in the squad, I'm not too sure. Next season, I think will be interesting, regardless of what purchases we actually make. Hopefully, we'll see Stefan come back just as strong before his injury.
Yeah,
and as he said, Miss Jones has had a good ending of the season, so those are 2+ points in terms of youngsters for us.
Yeah.
How those fare, we'll obviously see.
You got your boy Cavallo there, innit?
Oh, don't, Preds, you're gonna upset these my dreams, boy. But you know what? I'm really glad you actually mentioned that. What I would love.
Check this guy out.
Good evening, Preds.
Look at this guy. Great tune, though. Great tune.
Hey, let's go. That's it.
Hey, pass
reggae, that's it. Ooh la la la. Ooh, oh, oh.
Arlie, let me stop before like there's a copyright strike.
Oh my goodness. Well, that is what you call an introduction to a show. Good evening to Breeze. How are you?
Good evening, good evening, gentlemen. Let me apologize for my lateness. Duty calls. So but I'm here. I am here.
You are here, mate, and welcome, mate. Welcome. It sounds like we're doing. Stoney. It seems like we're like. It feels like we're doing like an interview, like with the geezer on the radio. You know what I mean? A celebrity. You know what I mean on the radio. As the celebrities in the car on the way somewhere. You know what I mean? Me and Stoney on radio, giving it. Yes, let's give him an interview. Let's interview him. Go on, let's interview him.
Oh, goodness gracious, that is so cool. So to Breeze, just before you come and you joined us on the show, we were just really ending on kind of speaking about the Aston Villa game.
Yeah,
that was kind of concluded. So you won't need to add anything more on that. So we're just going to move on to the next point, which is our loss. It upset me too much. I think at the beginning of the show, myself and Preds were saying that even though we got the draw, if we had got the extra 2 points and a win, that may have changed how Manchester United played the last two games. Would that have had an impact on how Newcastle have played? And could we have even snuck into the Champions League? Is that asking for too much?
Yes. Because I think I'm not going to go over what you've said before, but the league table doesn't lie. It looks like we finished fifth because United beat Chelsea by almost like a cricket score. And it is what it is. But let's say, well, I think we can safely say that we had a decent, and I'd say like a decent end, a decent run, and I think everyone can see the potential.
Yeah. Fully agreed.
Yeah. That's a nice summarization for it. So our last game of the season, we are away down at St. Mary's, Southampton. I mean, look, regardless of the outcome of it, we still finish fifth anyway. Would you like to see a change in players or personnel for that, or should we just stick with the tried and tested? I think for me, when I was thinking about this fixture, I was trying to be honest with myself as well, and I was thinking, what other players can Klopp actually play? Do you reckon he'll give a run out to Matip? Do you reckon he'll play Heller in goal? Do you reckon he'll play Gomez in the team, or even Carvalho in the team? Or do you reckon he'll just possibly stick with the same team that played against Villa?
Fabrice, after you, mate.
I think there's going to be wholesome changes. For me, I don't like playing players who we all know are not going to be at the club. So personally, I wouldn't like to see Bobby, Naby, or Milner play. And again, what's the reason for Keller to play? What is the reason for for Carvalho, to play? Now they are playing without any pressure. And like for me, a sign of a great player is someone that can play under the kind of Liverpool cloud of our kind of history and the trophies that we've won. So for me, just play the team for that Klopp or the management are looking to play for next season, and of course with the few additions that hopefully we'll be getting in the summer.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on that, on the personnel or possible lineup for the last game against Southampton to Preds?
In some ways, I agree with what Sabri said, and I hope that any players that are not going forward for Liverpool next season are not in the squad. But I would like to see Liverpool put out the strongest possible team, because I want to finish off with a win. Like if we finish off with a win, yes, we stay in 5th place. It doesn't do anything, but it's just about momentum. And if we can finish the game on a positive, finish the season on a positive, with the strongest team available to us, i.e., the players that are going to be with us moving forward to next season, then yeah, do it.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, we'll obviously, as you said, we got the game St. Mary's, last game of the season. For me, win, good performance, and then the boys can have a rest. I think we've got our pre-season friendlies in July. I think we are playing over in Singapore. I think Leicester's in that tournament. I think Bayern Munich's in that tournament as well. We'll touch a little bit more about the pre-season games in next week's show. In next week's show, we'll also have an opportunity to speak about any of the teams that are now going to be relegated from the Premiership, what players we can possibly see if Liverpool actually
Listen, let me just say it, because Artie's not here, so no one can ban me. James Ward-Prowse. I'm saying it with my chest. There's no Artie right here. James Ward-Prowse. Let me just start off that conversation for next week.
So, Breeze, look what somebody's actually put in.
He can't look.
And it just is lined up just for you,
He can't look.
Oh, goodness. So, yeah, that's definitely going to be one of the features for next week. So, we're going to speak about any of the teams that have been relegated, what players Liverpool could possibly add to our squads, which is we're going to speak about the pre-season friendlies as well. And one thing I'm not usually heavy on, but I don't mind speaking about it on next week's show as well, is about any additional players that can possibly be leaving the club, or whether that's out on loan, or any players we've actually been linked to actually purchasing. Has there been anything in the rumour mill, players, right? Apart from McAllister at Brighton, and apart from, I think there's a centre back from Sporting Lisbon. Has you guys got any knowledge about any players that we've currently been linked with? Or it's too early, really, but any players or knowledge?
Well, I think we've been linked to the lad from Bayern Munich, the midfielder, Gravenbach.
Okay.
Yeah, Ryan. Is it Ryan?
Yeah, Ryan Gravenbach.
You guys calling him by first name. That means you guys must know him well then.
Mate, you got to do your research, mate. You got to do your research. But yeah, he's a good player. He's 6 foot. I think he's 6'2". He's centre midfielder. Good, physical. Got a good engine. Very unlucky not to be in the Bayern Munich side. Not sure why he's not in the Bayern Munich side. Because he's a very good player. I think the only sticking point is that he's only been there for a season.
Right.
He joined them from Ajax. So yeah, he's only been there for a season. He's not been involved, so you never know.
All right, so that's something that we're penciling. Sorry, I do apologize. Go ahead, Fabrice.
So the other two players is Dumfries from Inter Milan, right back, and also Mason Mount. That's like one that's been bandied about. I think both of them would be great additions. I think the Dumfries one would be very interesting if that actually goes through. Well, what does that mean for like Trent? Does that mean we are looking to possibly convert him into I'd say a more kind of CDM, because I can't see Klopp rotating Trent and Dumfries. I can't see that happening. And of course, with Mason Mount, I think he's just been very unlucky at Chelsea. I do think he needs a change of environment. And it's the type of player in the right system and with the right players around him that could really do pretty well.
Yeah. It's going to be. I mean, like Liverpool's going to be competing with a lot of other teams for signings. But I think, like we've already identified, we don't really go for those big marquee signings. So I'm not really concerned. People said about, oh, you're not going to get the players because they're not going to come from the Champions League. Well, yeah, but those are the big marquee signings. We don't sign big marquee signings. I mean, obviously, not Neves. Oh God, Darwin Núñez. We bought him for a significant amount of money, but he's not. He's not the global superstar that other teams are going to buy. So, it's going to be very interesting.
So Stoney, I mean, let's kind of talk about your favorite player at Liverpool, Carvalho. I mean, what does he do next season?
I think it's one of those things. Pred's mentioned it as well. I would love for him to have an opportunity to get some game time at Liverpool. The position that he plays, I think we're almost top heavy over on that side. So when he was at Fulham, it was a 4-2-3-1, yeah? So that means we got Luis Diaz over that side. Darwin Núñez now plays over that side as well. And also Gapco. What that then means is, unless our coaching staff and Klopp are trying to play for Carvalho in a new position, it may mean that he has to go on loan. It would honestly break my heart if we was to sell him, because I think he hasn't had an opportunity to actually play for us, to actually see what he's capable of doing. And bearing in mind, we were actually very patient with that purchase from Fulham with him. So I would love for him to get some game time next season. I think, what may well work in our favor as well. Even though we're not in the Champions League, we're in Europe. So we will need to have a bigger squad. So hopefully that's going to work in his favor. But I would love for him to actually remain and get some game time.
Yeah. Tabrice, question to you. Do you think that and to Stoney as well, do you think the recent performances of Curtis Jones has what are you laughing for? Do you think that was having? Do you think Curtis Jones has done enough to warrant a starting position or starting berth next season?
I swear down to you, that was the next question I was going to ask you. That was a question I was going to ask you. That's what I was like. I mean, football is so fickle. I am such a fickle fan. It is ridiculous. He was one of the catalysts for our resurgence, and I can see what Klopp sees. I think he's done enough to at least have an honest goal, if that makes sense. I think he's good enough to be thereabouts. But if we're looking at players like McAllister, possibly Casado, and there's Verratti as well. Verratti from PSG, I've actually heard.
Yeah.
These are top midfielders. Curtis Jones would have to be pulling up trees, but I think for me right now he's done enough to be part of the Liverpool squad for next season.
Yeah, I think that's a fair assessment. Look, he's 22, right? Through all of the levels that he's obviously played at Liverpool, even up until he was the under 21s and academy captain, the promise has obviously been there. I'm going to hold my hands up as well. I was berating this player. I couldn't understand why he was part of the Liverpool squad. Once again, it shows how much I know about professional football. This is still very little. But as he said, look, the last couple of performances, he literally did nothing wrong. He's played in an adjusted system with Klopp, and the way that he functioned in that system was effective. I think what it does for him going into next season, it brings his conversation to the table. You know, I don't think it's going to hinder any of the players that we're actually going to purchase. But I think what it does do, it brings him to the conversation, allows him to actually knock on the door to say, look, I think I'm warranted to being part of this squad here going into next season. And as he said, it's credit to him. You want players to be given an opportunity for them to grab it with two hands, and he's relished doing that as well. So, let's crack on.
Yeah, because I mean, I only mentioned him because I mean, on this show, I also joined you in berating him, and I think one of our colleagues have also called him the dancer in it, or the stripper. So you know what, I'm same with you guys, and I have to put my hands up. The lads, you know, done really, really well, performed strongly towards the end of the season. Those 7 consecutive games, 8 games that he's been playing. So yeah, you know what, put him in the mix. Like we say, we need a big squad. So
yeah, we definitely do. Good evening, Vinny. Thanks for joining us at the latter stages of the show. Vinny's always been here. He's one of our, similar to the hosts, he's always here and always supporting the show. So thanks for joining us, Vinny.
Hold on, hey, Stoney, to Brees. Have you seen Billy? Have you seen Billy?
I mean, has he gone AWOL?
We might have to invite him on the show for next week. That's what I think we might have to do. That'll be, you know what? I'm actually going to do that. Billy, if you're listening, we're going to get in contact with you, sir. And we're going to invite you on the last show, the last actual Premiership season show before we change the format for the summer. All right. So we're definitely going to do that. Surprises for the season for us then. Was there any unexpected player performances that you look back on and you were happy around? I know Salah's broken a few more records this season, but if there was a few players that stood out and you said, all right, brilliant, I'm glad we had an opportunity to see them play.
Not really.
No.
You know what? I'm going to say, and you guys probably say it's a goalkeepers union thing, but I think Becker's got even better. He's got better, and he's going to get better. But I agree with the Brees. I agree with the Brees though. No.
There's no players you're gonna look. You're not gonna look back and think at the beginning of the season how well Stefan played before his injury.
No, I mean, like he was kind of fleeting in and out anyway. You know, let's be real. Like, you know, it was like I think, and you know, and to Perez's point regarding how good Becker was, it was because we were getting peppered more. So, you know, like he had to make the saves. You know, I think, you know, it's the first time that we've actually seen him get his clothes or get his shirt dirty. So, but you know, there's been no one in the team where I'm like, oh wow, like that's outstanding. I mean, of course, like Salah, we all expect Salah to be hitting those numbers, but
even Salah, we were on his back a little bit as well, you know. When
listen, I mean, you know, 100%, and you know, and if the money's right, I would definitely consider parting with Salah. And I know that sounds absolutely mad because getting someone that can score 30 plus goals is like gold dust. But if the money's right, and like I'm talking 60, 70 million for someone who's, you know, now in their 30s, it's a conversation to be had.
So what do you do? Sell Salah and bring Mane back?
Oh,
wow.
He's meant to he's meant to be leaving, isn't he? After that incident that happened there, where do you reckon he's going to go?
I don't know. I think
That's interesting.
it's an interesting one, but it's an interesting one, right? But in European football, when you get tarnished with a little bit of mud, and obviously that situation or issue, the situation that developed at Bayern Munich with him getting the suspension, that's going to have a knock-on effect. There are whispers flying all over the gaff about the situation, and I really hope that he secures a move and becomes happy and enjoys his football, because he's a fantastic footballer, and I was absolutely gutted he was gone. But I wouldn't go. I wouldn't be overly excited if he came back.
No, for me that's a definite no. Brilliant player. He served his purpose with us, but I definitely would not want. I know I've mentioned on previous shows, if players leave, that's fine, but don't sign him, don't re-sign him. Not interested in that. I think for me, I don't know. I just need to get out ahead. If a club goes about re-signing players, for me, it just shows that their scouting is limited. I could be completely wrong, but that's just how I feel about it. Let those players move on. They've served the purpose.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
But also as well, if you can look at the players that we're losing, we're losing senior players. And I think if like Mane was to come back, they'll let a bit of tension and murmurs, but you know how it is. Once you score your first goal, everyone kind of forgets about the previous season, and again, we need the senior. Well, we need senior players, experienced players now, that are gonna help the team. And I would be all for bringing Mane back, depending on the price.
Well, yeah. I mean, like you said, Tabri said it when he first came on. We're football supporters. We're fickle supporters, and it could be a situation. Yeah, we don't really want him. If he comes back, scores first goal, all is forgiven. But like I said, I think that it would be a very big signal of our development and our transfer strategy if we did go back to a Mane. But
food for thought, isn't it? Yeah. Definitely food for thought. Well, this is going to conclude this week's show. I just want to thank everybody for tuning in. Thank you very much once again for Preds. Appreciate you joining us today, and also to Brees. Next week, gentlemen, I'm just giving you the heads up. We're gonna have a quiz next week, Liverpool quiz, but it's gonna have a little twist. All right. What is this outro?
I'm sorry, guys.
Play it to Brees.
Can I play it?
Play it.
Hold on. What button am I pressing? Hold on.
Yeah, you got a clue. Whose car are you driving, mate?
Whose car? Wait, hold on. There's no signal. Hang on.
The army's.
Oh, I've missed it. I've missed the song. Oh.
I mean, what a build up we gave you, and you just flopped, didn't you?
There'll always be next week to Reese. All right. So, as I say.
Okay. You're about to me. Definitely. I'm not gonna know you're gonna scare me. Cause you always be my baby. Good night.
Do you know so good?
Good night. Hold on, Stoney. Have you not mentioned the victorious Cop Talk beating the Man United agenda by 3 goals to 2?
You know what? In typical Liverpool fashion.
Go ahead.
You know what? In typical Liverpool fashion, we have to talk about this for an extra 10 minutes.
Go ahead.
Because those United guys thought they had it in the bag. We had like the big 6'7" Rasta thought, literally thought that he had me in his pocket. Nah, son, no chance. No chance. You guys faded like ice cream in the sunshine. Melted, melted, not faded. Melted.
And we also played that game for a period of time with 10 men.
You know what?
Yeah.
RT came off like Darren Anderton. He just
sick note. You're giving him a sick note.
Sick note. You know what? I didn't even see him come off. I'm like, hang on. Where's that right? Where? I've just seen him there sitting now, and I'm like, what's going on?
For all you viewers out there, we had this game against Man United agenda, and we missed a barrel of chances before they took the lead. Mr. B had a lucky shot come off his, I don't know whether he shanked it or something. He must have come off his shin or something. I don't know. But I've got to be honest, I did have a word on myself and think, how did I get beat like that? But then again, it is what it is. But yeah, we came back, and the score, Vinny, was 3-2. We won 3-2. We did have 2 penalties. I'm not even going to talk about the first penalty.
Don't mention the first one. Don't mention, because No, do not mention it.
You know what? I'm going to mention it. Right. Our lad has tried this penalty where he's stepped over it and then done a pirouette and then tried to hit
360.
it. 360 pirouette around and tried to get it, and he got it horribly wrong. But in all fairness, he came strong and we came strong. And yeah, we came back and we absolutely battered them. Last 5-10 minutes, Man United agenda. It was like 2 banks of 4. They were parking they parked the bus. That's right, Man United agenda. I said it. You parked the bus and tried to hit us on the brake.
100%.
You tried to hit us on the brake, and like Debris said, the big 7 foot lad. Wait, all I'm going to say is, get out of Debris's pocket, will ya?
and like also as well, I just want to say, like, because we are live, Prez, you're an amazing keeper. Honestly, because again, this is like the first time that we've actually seen each other play.
Yeah,
honestly, like but like presence, you like miss some, really, really good like saves, handling impeccable. Yeah, so you know what? If you're looking for a team, if you feel like you can travel South London, my team's looking for a goalkeeper. I kid you not. And Stoney, and Stoney, you was like Joe Allen, just always around, just kind of keeping it simple, just covering the space. And you know what? You're very aggressive. You are very, very aggressive. Like I don't know. I'm saying like online, like it's all not. I'm saying like like it's all gentleman like. Using all of the big fancy words, but on the pitch, and like it's just.
When the game
honestly,
changed.
Proper.
When the game changed, right? The game changed when we made a tactical masterstroke. Right, we played a tactical masterstroke, and we put Stoney as a number as the defending midfielder, the holding midfielder. Yeah,
that was it, man.
Yeah, and that changed everything.
Oh, good.
That changed the game.
That changed the game, man. There was one time I thought Stoney was going to hit a 20 yard. Well, actually, so I'm being a bit generous about 30 yards. I mean, it's an over exaggeration. Yeah, I thought he was going to hit a 20 yard. I thought, yeah, he's going to hit it, and it just squirmed away from him. But yeah. Stoney, mate, holding midfielder, mate.
Honestly,
a little Mascherano, wasn't he?
Yeah, honestly, he was just covering space, man. It's covering space, and guys, let me just apologize because I literally came back from Manchester that same day, so I was running on fumes, literally.
Mate, your performance, what you done, mate, in your performance, mate, if you was running on fumes, I would love to see you when you're 100%, mate. Because I tell you, mate, you've done a job. Trust me.
Yeah.
As a goalkeeper, you got your big centre half there, mate, winning the tackles and brushing off the centre forwards like that. Listen, you do for me, kid. You do for me.
Yeah, and we did well as well. First time that we had all played together, and the heat.
Oh my gosh!
That heat played a massive factor as well on the day as well.
Yeah, I'll tell you who was the man of the match. The man of the match was the referee when she took it down from 45 minutes to 35 minutes. Brilliant.
That's brilliant. Oh,
well done,
and literally, how are we gonna judge Artie's performance? And I'll go last.
I think we should wait for him to come on a show with us so he can respond in person. I think that would be the fairest thing to say.
I think that's the best and safest thing to do.
That's the safest thing to say. But listen, lads, it's been an absolute pleasure coming back on. I know we weren't able to come on for a few weeks, but we're back. So everybody that's tuned in, we will resume our normal Thursday at 10 p.m. on Kop Talk. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And as he said, we've got some more content to share with you next week. And as he said, we've also gonna have a quiz with a twist. So please, 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 when you tune in next week, make sure you've got your pens and your pads ready. And from me, Preds, sir, have a good evening.
Have a good evening, mate. And in homage of Tina Turner, mate, we're simply the best.
See
everyone next week. Tabriz, be safe, okay, brother?
Will do. Good night, everyone, and we'll see you guys next week Thursday.
Singing, you got to play homage to